And she's got a spine of steel.
Yes.
And she's also been a black woman in America a very long time. So none of this is new to her. We are mad because we're tired of it.
We're mad
tired
for her.
We're mad for her. And listen to this. We have fires every year. And I don't remember in the 30 years almost that I've lived in LA, I've never seen everybody react like this to the mayor and blame one person for a natural disaster.
Yes.
I've never seen it. Now what's different this time? Interesting, isn't it?
You said that, amen, sister.
So this is the game the Democrats play. When the Democrats are in charge, when they're overseeing some type of tragedy, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's some other debacle caused by leadership, like the Afghanistan withdrawal with Joe Biden in 2021, when the Democrats are in charge, they say, why are we talking about politics? Why are we politicizing this? This is such a tragedy. We should focus all of our time on the tragedy. And let's not talk about the leadership. Let's not talk about the failures. Let's not talk about Karen Bass' decision to go on a taxpayer-sponsored trip to Ghana. It had nothing to do with LA, but that's what she chose to do. Let's not talk about how she wasn't there preparing her city, even though she had ample warning about the hurricane force winds, about the water situation, how they should deactivate certain power lines to mitigate the risk of spreading fires. Let's not talk about her doing any of this stuff because she's a Democrat. Why are we talking about politics? This is a tragedy. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. The media is running mental gymnastics right now, trying to defend the indefensible, trying to defend. Why is Trump saying that Gavin Newsom is doing a bad job? Trump, why are you talking about this? You shouldn't be doing it. See, if it was a Republican, they'll be getting railroaded. They'll be getting killed by the media. But because the media is nothing more than an arm for the Democrat Party, the media is doing the tap dance. The media is defending these trash leaders that the California voters chose. So we're going to look at Ron DeSantis going off on these people, calling them out, and the hypocrisy. Let's take a listen.
What do you think about the idea of President-elect Donald Trump criticizing a governor in the middle of a disaster?
Well, first of all, I mean, when Donald Trump was president, he responded very strongly to natural disasters. I can tell you he responded very positively in Florida, but he also responded favorably when there were Democrat governors. And I think he understands the importance of these situations. You know, I will note, I mean, you talk about, you know, what you're doing. I remember when we had our hurricanes this past hurricane season. We had Hurricane Helene, and Florida, we're locked and loaded for this. We respond. But then you go to North Carolina, and it was like a third world country all of a sudden. There was no sense of urgency from the federal government. I think the state government didn't do very well. And so I'm sending my assets up there to help rescue people. Florida, the State Guard is up there doing that. And I think the administration was asleep at the switch. Then Milton came, and they knew that they had suffered some political negativity of that. So I have Harris trying to pick a fight with me in the middle of Hurricane Milton, saying, "Ooh, he's not taking my calls." I tell you, she never called me in my whole tenure as governor on any natural disasters, and I'm not sure she's done very much on this one, even though she's there. So, you know, these things are go how they go, but I can tell you, and I'll say the same with Biden. I worked well with Biden during his time in natural disasters, and I worked well with Donald Trump. So I'm very confident as a state that knows we face these, that a Trump administration is going to be very strong and is going to be there for the people regardless of party.
Is it appropriate for the president?
It's a great response right there, but he's not done with him because the media, they never learn, man. These hypocrites are just trying to agitate things. Basically, they're trying to get the Republicans here. They're having a conference in Florida. The Republican governors throughout the country all met down there in Florida for a conference, GOP conference. But the media is trying to get these Republican governors to go against Trump for calling out the trash governor of California, Gavin Newsom. But let's continue.
Elect or a president to be criticizing.
Is it appropriate for people in your industry to try to create division and to try to create narratives anytime these things happen? Now, you're not as interested in doing that because Newsom is a D. If Newsom was a Republican, you guys would go you would have him nailed to the wall for what they're doing over there. And I know we've dealt with it. We just assume in Florida, anytime something happens, it's going to be politicized by the media. So you guys sitting in judgment of Donald Trump, I mean, excuse me, I think your track record of politicizing these things is very, very bad.
Okay, last question.
Newsom should resign and that the wildfires are all his fault. So do you agree with those comments?
I remember when we had the Surfside Tower collapse, I had people from the Washington Post trying to blame me for it immediately without having any facts or anything. Oh, he didn't declare a state of emergency. First of all, state of emergency doesn't mean you can't respond. It's all that. Excuse me?
Biden did it. I think that's what she said.
Well, but what I'm telling you is you guys are trying to make an issue of it when I have watched from this seat. In fact, when I got elected governor, I was meeting with some of the other Republican governors, and what they would say is, hey, if you have a natural disaster, just know media's coming at you, they're going to do it. It's not the same. That mayor of LA, if that were a Republican mayor, I could only imagine what that would do. I mean, you know the fires are at high risk and you try to go to Africa or wherever she was to go on some type of voyage. You should have been there preparing and doing that, and yet I don't see a lot of heat being directed in that thing. And so, I'd like to see some balance on how this is done. You could criticize the president-elect, but I think you also have to hold these other people accountable, and I have not seen that.
Exactly. He rightfully called these fools out, man. They are nothing but hypocrites. And what he said about Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, was absolutely true. If that was a Republican, especially with that interview or whatever that was when a reporter caught up with her at the airport, if that was a Republican who did that, that would be the end of their career. But the fact that it's a Democrat, we got people running mental gymnastics. We got these actresses I showed at the beginning, these woke left-wing actresses. Oh, she's black. Why are you criticizing her? Her skin is black. Don't you see her skin color? You can't say anything. Even if she was an absolute garbage mayor, you can't say anything about her because they're just going to cry racism. You're only criticizing her because of racism. It's not the fact that the people, millions of citizens, were looking for answers and she gave them absolutely nothing in the airport. It's not because she spent years enriching herself. Gavin Newsom spent years enriching himself. It's not because they were doing terrible jobs and skimming money and making backdoor deals and stuff like that. It's because she's black. That's what they run to. And honestly, it's kind of hard to argue with people. You see Ron DeSantis absolutely go off on these people, but they are so deranged and so far entrenched in left-wing ideology that they can't even hear what he's saying. But yeah, great statement by Ron DeSantis calling them out, and they're trying to say, are you going to call out Donald Trump for criticizing the Democrats? No, why don't you media fools shut the hell up and point the cameras at Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom? And I can say a whole lot about Newsom, but I haven't even got started on him. So let me know what you guys think about this. Like, share, and subscribe for more honest conservative commentary. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.